Hi, Miss Tuba. So the poem I will be reading is The Garden of Proserpine by Allergen Charles Swinburne, and it's a pretty long poem, so I guess I'll put in the description when do I stop reading it so you can skip to the important parts if that's what you wish. Anyways, I still recite again some parts of the poem to make points in the structure and everything, so here we go. Here, where the world is quiet, here, where all trouble seems that winds and span waves riot, in doubtful dreams of dreams, I watch the green field growing, for reaping folk and sowing, for harvest time and mowing, a sleepy world of streams. I am tired of tears and laughter, of men that laugh and weep, of what may come hereafter, for men that sow to reap. I am weary of days and hours, bloom boots of bare flowers, desires and dreams and powers and everything but sleep. Here life has death for neighbor, and far from eye or ear, one waves and wet winds labor, weak ships and spirits steer. They draft adrift, they wither, they wot not who made thither. But not such winds blow hither, and no such things grow here. No growth of moor or coppice, no heather flower or vine, but bloomless buds of poppies, green grapes of Proserpine, pale bits of flowing rushes, where no leaf blooms or blushes, save this whereout she crushes, for that man, deadly wine. Pale without name or number, in fruitless fields of corn, they bow themselves and slumber, all night till light is born, and like a soul belated, in health and heaven unmated, by cloud and mist abated, comes out of darkness morn. Though one were strong as seven, he too with death shall dwell, nor wake with wings in heaven, nor weep for pains in hell. Till one were fair as roses, his beauty clouds encloses, and well that love reposes, in the end, it is not well. Pale beyond porch and portal, crowded with calm lips she stands, who gathers all the immortal with cold immortal hands. Her languid lips are sweeter than love's who fears to greet her, to men that meets and meet her from many times and lands. She waits for each another, she waits for all men born, forgets the earth her mother, the life of fruit and corn, and spring and seed and swallow take wing for her and follow, where summer's song rings hollow and flowers are put to scorn. There go the loves that wither, the old loves with wearier wings, and all that years draw thither, and all disastrous things, the dreams of days forsaken, blind buds that snow have shaken, while lips that winds have taken, red straits of wind springs. We are not sure of sorrow, and joy was never sure. Today will die tomorrow, time stops to no man's lure, and love, grown faint and fretful, with lips but half regretful, sighs, and with eyes forgetful, weeps that no love endures. From too much love of living, from hope and fear set free, we thank with grief thanksgiving, whatever God's may be, that no life lives forever, that dead men rise up never, that even the weariest river wins somewhere to sea. Then star nor sun shall waken, nor any change of light, nor sun of waters shaken, nor any sound or sight, nor winter leaves, nor vernal, nor days, nor things diurnal, only the sleep eternal in an eternal night. So that is the poem, and then we have a first question: what is poetry? And I found this quote by Charles Simiu that says, "Poetry is an orphan of silence. The words never quite equal the experience behind them." And I agree, because as I have said before, I strongly believe poetry goes beyond us. It is true it would never embrace the actual meanings and feelings it is supposed to, but it becomes something different, something almost half human, with a power of its own. Cities fall and rise, and so we do, but art and poetry, they stay, they become a legacy. And it is not about the author or the reasoning behind it anymore. It is so much deeper. It is the remains of a human, or tears, or scorn, or love. How do I experience my first time reading the poem. Oh, I read this poem so many years ago. I remember just being swayed by the words and the rhythm. It's a very beautiful poem in structure. And then I felt like it was somehow about suffering. And I was going through a hard time, so I thought, oh my god, this is my poem. I especially love the parts about I am tired of tears and laughter and everything. The parts about suffering and not quite loving life, yeah. Then by not the second, maybe the fifth time reading it, I realized it was a sort of hopeless but calm poem. Well, the poem is called The Garden of Proserpine, so we talk about Proserpine, or Persephone. She is the queen of the underworld. She spends 6 months with her mom, and that's when we have spring, and 4 months she spends with others, when nothing grows outside and everything's cold and sad because her mom is throwing a tantrum and Greek gods and Roman gods are really dramatic, so yeah. So she becomes the queen of life and spring, but also the queen of dead things, the queen of the underworld, and that's kind of a paradox because you're the queen of all things alive and the queen of all things dead, and I think we use that in the poem a lot because we talk about the embrace of death, the embrace of Proserpine. It's a godless, hopeless death where there is nothing, there's no heaven, there is no hell, but we also describe the world of the living, always changing, moving, and to the nothingness of the hereafter. So we have that kind of comparison. And the world of the dead is what is waiting for all of us. We all go there and we talk about how there's nothing. There's no suffering, there's no, for the ones who sing, there's no heaven for the saints. It's just calm death and nothing more. And I like that. So when I listen to someone else reciting the poem, I feel really peaceful. It's a really harmonic structure, like a melody. So we go into describing the structure of the poem. And I found that in the second verse, for example, we can appreciate how the rhythm goes A, B, A, B, C, C, D. I am tired of tears and laughter, and men that laugh and weep, of what may come hereafter, for men that sow to reap. I am weary of days and hours, bloom buds of barren flowers, desires and dreams and powers, and everything but sleep. So we have weep that rhymes with reap, laughter that rhymes with hereafter, then we have hours, flowers, power, or C, 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 and then the D that rhymes with nothing else in the verse, it's sleep. So again, A, B, A, B, C, 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 D. And we can also clearly see that it is a trimeter, for the lines can be divided in 3 feet. For example, in the last line, that is in an eternal night, in an eternal night. And we can also understand that it's an unstressed syllable followed by an stressed syllable. For example, in Green Grapes of Proserpine, we have green grapes of Proserpine. Green grapes of Proserpine. So we got ourselves a Iambic trimeter, our favorite kind of poem, it looks like. So we talk about a rhyme poem, and while I was researching this type of poem, I found it has something called a feminine rhyme. For example, in the words mowing, sowing, growing, because there's a stressed syllable and unstressed syllable, and both of the syllables, they rhyme with the other ones. So mow, sow, grow, and then they rhyme with wing, 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 mowing, sowing, growing. So I think Swinburne chose this type of poem because it is part of a book called Poems and Ballads, and they center around Greek mythology. And how the poem is structured, it reminds me a bit of some of Sappho's writings. So I think he's trying to evoke like this Greek feeling, and also the fact that he's a pre-Raphaelite poet. It really speaks for the subject he used, the paganism and the mythology and the use of Proserpine, and the structure he uses very pre-Raphaelite and Victorian from him. So I found there's alliteration in the poem, in for example the line in Doubtful Dreams of Dreams, because we start with the same D over and over again, and there's a lot of rhetorical devices, and I've only mentioned a few because it's such a long poem, it would be hard to actually mention them all, but I hope I do most of them. So there's alliteration, for example, in a line in Doubtful Dreams of Dreams, because we start with the same D sound. Then we have allusion to Proserpine through all the poem, or Persephone, however you like it better. We have anaphoras, here were the world, here were the, and also we have for reaping folk and for harvest, for example. In the second verse, I am tired, I am weary. We also have metaphors, for example, in here that has life for neighbor. They aren't actual neighbors, so we got ourselves some metaphor. We also have analogies, for example, fair as roses, strong as seven. Hyperboles in, for example, I am tired of everything but sleep. I am actually tired of everything that is in the world but sleep. Then we have simile in, for example, like a soul belated, and it's just full of rhetorics, this one poem. I sometimes wish I had picked an easier poem, but yeah, we go into the imaginary. This poem is really evocative because you can picture the gardens, you can picture life, you can picture everything. So there's also a lot of words. In taste, for example, we have waves, you can taste the salt in the waves. We have flowers, you can taste some flowers. I don't recommend to try them all, but yeah. We have grapes, poppies. You can get high by that, but yeah, poppies. Wine, corn, roses, harvest. I put harvest in taste because when harvest and reaping, you can taste what you have harvested, but you can also taste like the chlorophyll of the plants when they are being reaped or being cut up. I don't know if it makes sense. It made sense to me when I wrote it down. We can taste lips of someone we love. We can taste their lips, and we can taste fruits. And then in sound, we can hear the wind, we can hear the waves, we can also hear the harvest and the reaping. We can hear a river, we can hear the sea, we can hear laughter, we can hear weeping, we can hear sights, and we can hear the sound of the swallows. Now inside there's also a lot in the poem. The green fields, we can see when the wind is really strong how it moves the trees. We can see the waves, we can see flowers, we can see the moor and the poppies, we can see vines, we can see poppies. We can see when someone blushes, we can see wine, we can see fields, we can see corn seeds, we can see corn and seeds, we can see light, we can see beauty, we can see roses, we can see the stars, we can see the clouds, we can see when someone is pale, we can see men, we can see fruits. So there's a lot. Touch, we can touch the fields, we can touch the wind. Well, not per se touch it, but you can feel when it's really strong wind and it pulls on your skin. So I put it in touch because you can like feel the force against you. The waves, you can feel them. You can touch flowers, you can touch poppies, you can touch vine, you can touch poppies, you can touch fields, you can touch corn, you can touch light. Not percentage light, but you feel the warmth of the sun and the warmth of the light from a candle, from a source of light. You can feel it, so I put it in touch. You can touch roses, you can touch hands, you can touch lips, you can touch men, you can touch fruits, you can touch snow, you can't touch the sun, but still you can feel the sun, so I put it in there. And then in smell, you can smell the salt in the waves, you can smell flowers, you can smell poppies, you can smell poppies that I found they don't actually have smell. The seeds seem to be really smelly, but they just smell like dirt. You can smell wine, you can smell corn, you can smell roses, you can smell the harvest, like the smell of petrichor with the rain, but when someone mows the lawn, you can smell the greenery, you can smell the, I read that is the smell of like the grass when it's getting cut. it emits like this smell to alert the rest of the grass that something is happening or something like that. I don't know. So you can smell your mom, you can smell men, you can smell fruits, and you can smell the sea. So yeah, there's a lot of imaginary in the poem, and I like everything about it. But if I have to mention three things, is the structure. I really like how the rhymes go. I really like the allusion to Persephone or Proserpine. I really like the fact that we talk about that as something to look for, something we will get eventually, but something that we shouldn't be quite afraid of, but something that just is. And I like the part of I am tired of tears and laughter. I am tired of the human world. I am tired of life. Things that I don't like about the poem. That is a really hard one because I'm not a really gray person. It's everything is black and white for me. I'm all about it or I'm all against it. I take a really strong stance in everything. So I love everything about the poem, but in this case that we are doing this kind of analysis, I don't like that it's that long. I don't like that it has a lot of to take apart because it would have been easier if I had chose like a haiku. Could I have done that? Could I have chosen just a haiku? So my three questions to the author, to Charles. Do you believe in God? Because by the poem I think he does not. It's about really hopeless, about there's no heaven, there's no hell. And if you don't believe in God or gods, then why use the image of Proserpine, a goddess, to talk about the connection between life and death? Or are you a Greek pagan or a Roman pagan? What's up with you, man? So how long did it take him to write the poem? Because it's long and it's also constant rhyming, and when I write a poem and I need it to be like a sonnet and it has to have certain rhymes, I just Google what rhymes with this word, but they couldn't do that. So did they just use their mind to their fullest? Did they have a dictionary with them to find words that rhyme with, or how? And also, do you truly believe there's nothing, or it was just for the sake of the poem? Do you really think life is all we have? And if it is, then why are you so tired of it? Thank you.